I'm just going to get this out of the way right up front. A great image is created long before you pick up your camera. Videos that talk about f-stop, shutter speeds, lenses, camera bodies, what have you, they're great, they're fun to watch. They get a lot of views, so it's good for my channel. But honestly, they're not going to help your photography as much as the things I'm going to talk about in this video. The question you need to ask yourself is, how do you set yourself up for success before you even start the session? And the answer to that is that all the important work, all the important decisions are made before you pick up your camera or your model shows up onto location. No, really, it's true. And I'm going to show you how to create a great outdoor session by pre-scouting it and the things you need to look for when you scout a location for photography. Welcome back to the channel. Hayward here. As I said in the beginning, I'm going to prepare you to create a great portrait in an outdoor location. So I'm going to go through the things you need to look for, the things you need to plan, the visualization cues you need when you see a location to ensure that your portrait is going to be great. Now, ideally, you really want to visit this location before you go there to shoot. If you look at cinematographers in films, they would never just show up to a location they've never been to and just start rolling film. I'm sorry, I'm really old. No one rolls film anymore. They would roll video, but you get the idea, right? They would never go in cold. They've set themselves up to fail. Why would you want to do that? Because you don't even have all their skills, training, and all the crew they have. Set yourself up for success. Visit the location before you ever begin shooting. Okay, so I'm at the location where I've determined we're going to shoot. We're going to be using these architectural elements here. Subject will be in this area. We have shade on the subject, and that's only part of the battle. How do I know where the sun is going to be? I need to know where the sun is going to be because I'm shooting in the morning, but the session we're going to have is in the afternoon. So is the sun going to be over there? Is the sun going to be over there? We don't know. Let's find out. Okay, so that was my first look. Right? I had already chosen my location. Choosing the location is a little bit beyond the scope of this video. You would have already made that decision. So I've chosen this location and I just narrated my first look and what I'm thinking when I first look at a location. Number one, of course, is where is the light and where is it going to be? In a tech scout, you very seldom get a chance to look at a location at the time of day you're actually going to shoot. If you can do that, if you can be there at the exact time, do it, by all means. My schedule just doesn't usually allow me to do that, so whenever I can visit a location for a tech scout, I have to take it, and I have to be able to know where the sun's going to be and visualize how that will look. Photography is about light, not cameras. Cameras are just a means to get there. You have to see what your photo is going to look like, visualize the light, and see it in your mind, and then use your camera lenses, settings, all that to get there. So the tech scout I'm showing you here is in the morning on a cloudy, rainy day, and I'm planning to be shooting late afternoon near sunset. Just about as different as it could possibly be from the conditions you saw in my first look. Okay, so I'm using the Sun Tracker app that I've referred to in other videos. I'm gonna hold it up and we're gonna see that the sun is gonna be over there at the time I want to shoot. It's gonna be somewhere between that gap in the trees or behind the tree. So I have to prepare for intermittent sun. Okay, so now I've used my sun tracker and I know where the sun's going to be. Heck, knowing where the sun's going to be is 70% of the battle. Now let's look at the ramifications of that, what it means once you know where the sun's going to be, given your location and what you're going to have to do about it. So what does that tell me? That tells me if my subject is here, I'm going to have a back edge light on the subject. But when I put my subject up here, they're going to be front lit from the sun. And so that's how you plan your lighting plan accordingly. You're going to take your exposure on the subject's face here or behind the subject here, then fill with flash or reflector here. So the same thing goes if I want to put the subject on this big X, which I really like. It's a very architectural spot. So if I put the subject here, I'm going to get edge light from over there somewhere. I'm going to have to put fill light, flash, reflector, something over here. Given that I'm under this big old shaded area, it's going to have to be a flash on the subject here. Whether it's going to be key or fill, that you have to decide on the day. Once you have an idea of how you're going to have to light, what you're going to have to do, then the only thing you've got to do is decide where you can put your subject in terms of possibility. You have to have a little flexibility, right? You can't say I'm going to have my subject exactly in this spot. You have to allow yourself some freedom. This is where the creativity comes in to bring the image home, so to speak. The little tweaks that in the case of the image I'm showing in this video, I didn't know how the model would be, where she would fit, how she would look good, or where she would look good. You don't know that. What you've done is you've set up a grounding area of where you can put them. Okay, so there's the lighting plan. I know where the sun is going to be. I know where I can put the model, anywhere up in here, and I know how I'm going to have to light it. So now I'm free to choose backgrounds, locations, positions, and what works for the subject. So we can put the subject here, we can do close, we can do wide. That's the lighting plan. I've scouted the location. I know exactly what I'm going to see at that time of day, which is about 6:30 in the afternoon, where the sun's going to be over here. Even though it's not now, it's a cloudy, rainy day, but I know where the sun's going to be. So it's just a question of how bright it will be. Okay, so let's talk real quick about the images I did shoot during the session. As you saw from the scout, I had some of the images that were directly lit by the sun, and I had others that I had to light by flash. Hey, let me tell you, they've got to match. You can't say, oh, well, that's sun and that's flash. No, you haven't lit it right if they can tell. You've got to have the light blend, match, have your lighting pattern work to where it's all seamless, right? If the sun looks better than your flash, then you need to work on your flash, and conversely, vice versa. If your flash photography looks better than your natural light sun, you haven't got that down pat. That's bigger than the talk of this video, but the goal came out because of the pre-scout. I knew where the sun was going to be directly lighting the subject, and I knew where the sun was going to be off the subject and edge lighting, and that I would have to fill in, key, do the balance of it. And if you're a pro, you might be able to do this on the same day as the session, right? That's what you're supposed to do. But if you're just getting started with this, go to a location before you have to shoot. Make all these hard decisions so you don't get there and you have the deer in the headlights look going, oh my God, I did not expect to come across this lighting situation. Never be surprised, and that's a huge key to success. I hope you've gotten something out of this video. Hope you've learned something. If you got any questions, as always, please feel free to ask them in the comments. Until the next video, cheers.